Hi everyone. Welcome back to the London Premier League show. And we said we'll do a show today because obviously the international break, and like by the time we come back, it will be about 4 or 5 weeks. So we said let's squeeze a show in before the Premier League football resumes. We'll start off with the latest football action. Obviously, a lot of us they've been involved in cup competitions recently. We'll start off with James. Obviously, the big story, West Ham. You can summarize the Europa League and like West Ham's recent Premier League games.
What an evening it was. I think it was this time last week, may have been. I don't know. What an evening for West Ham. What an evening for the club, for David Moyes in particular, for the players that have worked really, really hard. I feel to beat Seville over two legs. Okay, extra time. Yeah, you can talk about Yarmolenko. He scored two crucial goals now for West Ham and what he's going through. There was a well-written article, I would say, in one of the tabloids yesterday or the day before, and he gave some sort of real insight into what he's going through. So he did really well. But yeah, overall the atmosphere was fantastic. You know, the London Stadium, 60,000 people. You know, it's good, and I think it's there for the taking now. West Ham, they got Lyon in the next round. That will be for a place in the semi-final likely to play Barcelona in the semi-final. Could be, a lot of people are saying that could be West Ham's only route to Champions League, which if you look at the Premier League form, that's probably true because Arsenal seem a bit unstoppable at the moment. Obviously, we played Tottenham at the weekend, and I think the scoreline flattered them a bit. They could have gone on when they were 2-0 up to dominate and go and win it 4 or 5-0, but they didn't. West Ham got back into it, and I just think Tottenham's third goal was just a bit unlucky in terms of the timing of it. Antonio was off form, but he played the whole game in Europe. Cresswell was played the whole game. We're just not got enough strength in depth really at key places. But you'll take it as a West Ham fan to still be in the Europa League quarter-final stage, not far off maybe finishing 5th, 6th maybe. Top 4 I think is out now because we've still got to play the likes of Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea away. And the two other games which people think are doable, both them teams have got points to win. We've got Everton next. They need to win. Then we've got Burnley. They need to win. Then we've got Brentford. They need to win. Do you know what I mean? So it's going to be hard to get points with the squad we've got. But we've got about, I think it was 7 players out on international duty this weekend. So certain players won't be getting a rest, but some will. Bowen is the big talking point for West Ham in terms of injury. It's a bit of a worse injury than they're making out, so he could be out for quite a while. Whether he's back, we're not too sure. But yeah, Premier League form's a little bit, dodgy. But I think next up for us is Everton at home after the international break.
Okay. So quick question about the Europa League. If West Ham, because I actually don't know the answer to this, I actually want to know if West Ham got to the final, is there some sort of like
You're
kind of
going to wind me up.
No, I'm saying, is there some sort of kind of arrangement that lets you go to the final? Like, are you going to go to the final? Is it possible?
Right. Now, boys, you have the privilege of me working in the school that you attended, yeah? Right? So, was that your question? Will Palmer let me go?
Yeah, it was like, is there something in the contract, like, yeah, you get the week off or like days off to go to the game?
If West Ham get to the final, and it will be in Seville, I will be there.
Okay, yeah, okay, Carl, that's all I wanted to know.
All right? I will be there. Now, I think the school will look after me. And just on the record, in case there are any fellow teachers watching this or anyone who's connected with Palmer, I will quite happily take 3 days off unpaid, the day before the final, the day of the final, and the day after. And I will take it gladly unpaid to just be there and to work and commentate.
Okay, fair enough. We'll go with Razan next. United. Yeah, you can sum up your latest games, like your thoughts on the Champions League exit, the top 4 race, etc. You can go for it.
Well, FA Cup, we already got knocked out, so nothing to talk there. Champions League was the highlight of my season to this point. It was the only competition that was left, only trophy we could win. We got knocked out 1-0, poor performance, no heart, no roofness, just it was all dead. Quite disappointed. I just think that season over now. there's nothing left to fight for. I don't like this top four fight. Top four is just meant to be something you just get regardless. It's just a check. It's not even meant to be a check. It's just meant to be a checkpoint. The first thing you check off, then you focus on the trophies. Like going into the season, I had high expectations, even more high expectations after the transfer window. I think it's going to be what, almost going into the next season. It's going to be 6 years, I think, without a trophy. And that's disappointing for me personally as a fan as well. That's not what Manchester United is. I used to more Arsenal fans for going 8 years on a drought, and the same thing is now happening to us, and it's just abysmal. You know, we got lucky in the first leg against Atletico. We did. And I thought, okay, they're gonna come back to Old Trafford. You know, this is Ronaldo's team. He loves to score against Atletico. Went missing, players don't really turn up. We were just sloppy. There was no heart. It just, yeah, we just let Atletico do their thing, and props to them. They managed to get the win over us.
Right, so I've got two questions for him. Like one, like considering Arsenal's form now, do you think like top four? Do you think United won't get top four? And two, who do you want? Like the managerial situation, United, Pochettino. I think Pochettino and Ten Hag, I think, are probably the two. One of those two. So out of those two, what's your preference?
To answer your first question, I already said top four was out when we started drawing against teams like Burnley, Watford, losing games against Wolves. Those were crucial games that we should have won. Those are teams that we can't afford to lose points against. And at one point, Wolves could have potentially taken over us had they not bottled their lead against Arsenal. So these are big games to us. Even if they're in the bottom, they're big games to us just purely because of the situation we've put ourselves in, the situation that Ollie's left Ragnick in. And yeah, fair enough, he hasn't lost many games, but he's drawn so many, he's giving me Van Gaal vibes. You know, I think it's 6 wins, 7 draws. That's just not good enough. Yeah, you can say you've only lost once or twice, but if we're taking 1 point or 1.3 points per game, that's just not good enough. I'll sacrifice a loss here and two if it meant that we will be winning 8 or 9 of the games. I think to answer your second question, I've seen the rumors, I've seen the responses. Pochettino is yet to respond. I saw Ten Hag come out and say he's denied it at all costs. But it is looking quite shaky for Pochettino. I think he's lost 3 of his last Ligue 1 games. Got battered absolutely 3-0 by Monaco. The fans are absolutely booing Neymar and Messi. It's not looking good for him right now. But to be honest, I think Pochettino, he's a guy that can get us in a nice position, as in consistent top four, take us through to the semis, the finals. But it's just, he's not a proven serial winner. You know, I feel like he's going to be like 2.0, Ole 2.0. He's going to be meeting the expectations of the board, you know, top four, meet the final. But I don't think he'll win us the trophies. Ten Hag, you know, obviously, he's done so many things for Ajax and win the league titles, almost taken them to the final. I think it's just we need to find someone who has a bigger ego than, you know, our squad, like the likes of Ronaldo, Varane, Sancho, Rashford. We just have to make sure there's someone that can get a hold of these players, because right now I don't think anyone can contain them.
Okay, that's fair enough. James, anything to add for United?
I know it sounds silly, but I just wouldn't want to be a United fan because you just don't know what's going to happen. You know, it's a real shame because I was just looking at the league table, and you know, United, they're sitting 6. They're only a point behind Tottenham, 4 behind Arsenal, 2 ahead of us.
I think Arsenal have a game in hand as well.
Arsenal have got 2 games in hand on us,
Yes,
and one on Tottenham and United. So, yeah, I agree with what Samson said. And the managing situation, I don't know. I don't know who they will get. I honestly don't know. But I think they need to sort out the players first as well. Get rid of some players.
Okay. Okay, I'll move on to Chelsea now. Obviously, aside from obviously all the like off the field like issues, obviously Abramovich and all that. On the pitch, it's been good. Progressing in the FA Cup and Champions League. We're in the quarterfinals now of the Champions League, playing Real Madrid again. So I fancy us to win. I think probably on form, we're probably favourites, especially I saw El Clasico the other day. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I was seeing from Real Madrid. But I know they didn't have Benzema, but like he's not the centre back. He wasn't stopping those goals. So maybe we'll get 1 or 2 at the other end. But Barca, like they were clear, they were miles better than Madrid. Aubameyang obviously scoring a brace, I think it was. So yeah, Real Madrid, they're looking a bit shaky, but I expect, knowing Real Madrid, when it comes to the Champions League, they can turn up. I saw the way they came back from, everyone thought it was over against PSG, and it was the last half an hour. So still a tricky game, regardless of what kind of form Real Madrid are on. In the FA Cup now, obviously, we've got a favourable draw. I would say, obviously, if you ask Man City and Liverpool, they probably wanted Palace in the semis as well. But I don't know if you guys know, Liverpool and Man City, they're going to meet twice in that week. They have the Premier League game as well, I think, the weekend before the FA Cup. So they're going to be meeting twice in that. So that's a toss of a coin for who goes through in that. And Palace, we're favourites, but anything can happen. Palace, they're on really good form. I like Patrick Vieira. I like their style of play. I think they've got some good youngsters. Elise, I'm watching him. Like, he seems to be getting better. Ezzy as well. He's just come back from long-term injury, so he was one of their main men before he got injured. And I think
here's a question that I heard, Sion, for you. Will Chelsea allow Conor Gallagher to play?
Nah, they should. I don't think they will. But unless the Champions League rule, when you have a player on loan in the Champions League, they changed the rule in 2014 just to let Courtois play against us. So they changed the rule to let him. So they could change it. The FA Cup, they could change it because the UEFA did it for us, against us, and it worked against us because Courtois.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a rule from the FA. I think it's a rule from the club.
I
don't know if you know this youngster. He's a really good striker. West Ham should really get him. But there's a guy called Balogun who plays for Arsenal, and he's on loan at Middlesbrough, and he's been playing in the FA Cup. So it's just a question of whether it is they play against the opposite, like their team. I just think he should be allowed to play, but I don't think Palace are doing really well. They got to the final, and since they got to the final, every year so far they lost in the third round. So they're on a roll. I think they could beat Chelsea.
Yeah, like Palace could shock us surprise.
And then I think there's going to be a problem with the game at Wembley for Liverpool, Man City, because of the travel arrangements.
They requested to change stadiums.
I think they should play at Old Trafford.
Yeah. Imagine, that would be funny, man. Hey, United, we're playing in your.
I'm being serious because I don't know what other stadium could host that sort of semi-final. They can't play it at Villa Park or anything like that. They need to play it as close to Manchester and Liverpool as possible with the travel. And I think Old Trafford is an option.
Yeah, I can see the memes. I can see the memes in my head. Oh, we're playing at United Stadium and like for a chance to get to the final. Where are United? Where are you? We're meant to be playing you or something silly like that. But what I was saying about Palace, what I've noticed, I think the most important thing I've seen with them is like the pressure now has been, the burden on Zaha has been kind of taken off now.
Yeah.
He's not the only one now. So even against Everton, I saw him. He didn't have the brightest game in the game. He scored, but I didn't really notice him much. But he had like other people like releasing the burden, like dribbling. They've got dribblers now. So yeah, I've seen that with Palace. With us in the Premier League now, as of now, we're okay in third. Obviously, we've played now. Arsenal played their game in hand. Liverpool, that was one of their games in hand. They lost. So I think we've got a 5-point gap to them, but it just takes one defeat or 2 draws. And Arsenal, if they keep up their form, they could get sucked back in. They could still put pressure on us. But looking at their fixtures, they've got tough games. They still have to play the Spurs, obviously, the North London derby away. They've still got to come to Stamford Bridge. They've got to go to London Stadium. I think they've got to host Man United. So they've still got a lot of heavy games left. We'll see how they do. But as of now in the Premier League, I think
it'd be a massive achievement if he gets 4th place, Arteta. Considering his first 3 games and everyone was saying they're getting relegated. If you think back to the start of the season.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned Arteta because there's a topic on our podcast today. There's 2 questions. First of all, I'll start off with Arteta. Is he justified now with Arsenal's consistency now? Is he justified in letting Aubameyang go in January? Was it the best for both parties?
100%.
Definitely.
And I don't even think it was. I don't think it was more. I don't think it was just about ability. I think it was about the dressing room and about everything and standards and all that. And shows Arteta's class that he weren't going to put up with it. Not one man is bigger than the club.
Yeah.
So I think he was justified in doing it, and I think he's hit a bit of form for Barcelona, but you can't have a player that's causing too many problems and friction at that level. You look at like, who was the guy, Rassam, from You'll Help Me Here. the defender, Stamp. Is it Stamp? Yamp Stamp. I think
Stamp.
Ferguson got rid of him, and everyone's saying he got rid of him too early and all that. And I think there was issues there, and he was an outstanding player. I would have questioned that, but you can't question Alex Ferguson.
I think Fergie came out and said that he thinks he made a mistake though. He said if he could go back now, he would keep him.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah. But you have to. That's what I'm saying. That's the difference with the big managers. If you want to become like a Klopp, a Pep, a Ferguson, you got to do that. And then going back to what Rosanford was saying earlier on about Man United, that's their problem at the moment. They're not getting a manager of that caliber into that club that won't stand for no nonsense and will sort it out. Ollie would never do it. This new guy has not done anything different to Ollie. So it's a crucial decision to do that. But Arteta, I think, is proven right. And I think out of the clubs that are going for top four, I think Arsenal are the favourites. And I personally can't see Tottenham doing it. I don't want Tottenham to do it. They're so inconsistent and relying on someone that wanted to leave their club at the start of the season. And he's likely to still leave their club at the end of this season. And they've got a manager that's proven a little bit, but then has been so inconsistent. So inconsistent. Watching the reaction of him on Sunday, it was like a cup final for him.
Yeah, I saw that.
They were playing West Ham, who had just played in Europa League football,
120
night, and ain't got a squad, and he's celebrating as if he's played a cup final. But yeah, sorry.
All right, go on. Was that fun? Aubameyang?
Yeah, I definitely think that it was justified. I mean, obviously, form was just gone. Arsenal wasn't going to get the best out of him. He started slipping. I mean, we even saw it in the 2020 season, I think, against Spurs. He turned up to training late. I think that was the big sign, the first sign, and then it slowly started getting bigger and bigger. The media don't know about it, what obviously was going on behind the dressing room, and Arteta had to take action, and rightly so, it's worked out in his favour. Yeah, he's slowly picking up form again. He's doing well in Barcelona he scored a brace and assist, I think, against Real Madrid, doing well in Europa League. But yeah, I think it's justified. I'd still have to give a while to prove for Arteta's masterclass to be proven. I think if he does get top four, it will be a massive achievement, regardless of what's happened surrounding the other teams. It's considering what he started with, 3 defeats, relegation battles. He has turned it around a lot, but it's just now keeping the bottle up.
Okay, and sticking with you, Rosanford, like Arsenal obviously favourites for top four. So I want to know from both of you, is it more down to Arsenal's form or United and Spurs, probably the two main challenges that were considered to be top four, or is it a bit of both? I'll stick with Rosanford. You can go first on this.
It's both, to be honest, because for Arsenal to be in the position they are, it requires them to win the points and for us to drop points, and which has been happening. We saw Spurs drop points against Man United a few weeks ago. That helped out in Arsenal's favour. Tottenham beating West Ham, that helped out in Arsenal's favour. We dropped points against Watford, Burnley. That helped out in Arsenal's favour massively. I remember watching the Watford game thinking, okay, this might be a big chance for us to be back in the race for top four. But, Watford, they let us down big time. They blew the lead and lost 2-1 in stoppage time. So I think that was definitely that is going to be the highlight game of the season. We'll look back and say that was the game that potentially decided the fate of top four.
James?
Well, first of all, again, you've ignored West Ham on your question in there. You're saying
No, but hold on. You've already said. No.
No, but you didn't even credit West Ham with being.
No. Hold on. Did you not just say at the start?
Don't come back on it. Don't come back on it.
I'm justifying it. I'm saying, you've already said a Premier League. Oh, yeah, it's about Europa League now. So you guys are going to basically take your eye off the ball in the Premier League.
You're asking about Arsenal's form. You're asking about Arsenal's form.
Yeah.
Is it because of their form and then winning recently, or is it down to Tottenham and Man United? You should have had
who were at the start of the season going to be considered for top four favourites. That's what I said. West Ham are not going to be favourites for top four at the start of the season.
Based on the season, we finished 2 points behind you and could have won and got top four last season. I think you're not being fair.
Yeah, but guess what?
To answer the question of is it down to Arsenal or is it down to other teams' dropping points or whatever. Arsenal have been consistent, and they haven't been in Europe this year. That's a big thing. They're not playing they're not playing 2 games a week, and I think that's a massive thing when you're challenging in the top half of the table and for top 4. Your squad is limited in terms of West Ham squad, even Tottenham squad to a degree with their injuries. Man United don't know who to play, and they're playing twice a week. Arsenal aren't doing that. So you have to have that as a bit of a factor. But what you have to do is Arsenal have been a little bit more consistent than the likes of West Ham, Tottenham and Man United. That's what's given them the edge, is that they're more consistent. Yes, results have gone for them, but they're still grinding out results for themselves, And it's like what I said before. If Arsenal could have won all their games about 2 or 3 weeks ago, if they won all their games till the end of the season, they would have even finished 3rd. So it's about winning your games first, which I think Arsenal are doing that better than what Man United, Tottenham, and West Ham are doing. Right? But then what's helping them is that they're not travelling every week. They're not, as much as they've got a fixture congestion because they lost a few games, it's not as intense at playing at. Like even whatever that cup is, because West Ham could end up in it next year, so I'd have to do my own work. But this conference thing in Europe, I don't know what that is all about. Even that's hard. You look at Tottenham travelling with that and Leicester travelling with that. That's a lot of work for I don't even know what it represents. Like if you won the Conference Cup, what would you go in then?
Europa League.
Is that an automatic place in the Europa League?
Yeah.
I've heard a rumour as well. I weren't going to mention it because seeing a jump on this for Southampton. But I heard a rumour that there is only 4 English places in the Champions League, regardless. So if an English team wins the Champions League and West Ham win the Europa League, West Ham might not get Champions League.
Nah.
I think the rules have been complicated with the addition of the Europa Conference.
Yes. So I think there's something.
It's not mainly based on the Champions League. It's based on the maximum number of clubs in Europe. I think the maximum number of clubs that you can have in Europe is, from England anyways, based on the coefficient rankings, is 8. How they split it be 2, and I think it might be 4 Champions League, 3 Europa League, 1 conference. Not too sure how exactly it works. It all depends on how they split the ratios between each competition.
Something to think about.
All right. So next topic now. Obviously, this international break now is where I think the final set of World Cup qualifying. At the end of this international break, I think we know everyone who's going to be at the World Cup. So I think Portugal are playing Turkey tonight, I think. And I know Italy have to play North Macedonia. And then the winner of Portugal and Italy have to play. And the loser doesn't go to the World Cup. So for both of you, who do you think, if Portugal play Italy in the final, who do you think is going to go through and who's going to miss out on the World Cup? I'll start with James.
Well, out of them two, that's a tough one, that. I like Italy. I do like Italy because I like the way they play. I like their style of play. I know it's not likeable in terms of it's very defensive and all of that, but I just like, I don't know. Who would I want in the World Cup if I was watching the World Cup? Probably, I don't know. Because do I want them to have, who can England beat? So
okay, yeah.
Probably, I think we've got more chances of beating Italy than we have Portugal, if I'm honest. So I think I'd go for Italy to qualify just to help England, even though we lost to Italy in the final of the Euros. What's the Wales situation? They're playing tonight, is that?
Oh, Wales are playing tonight? Is that? Oh, yeah, Wales can still qualify, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a qualifier, playoff or something, against Austria.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, I was looking, you're right. Italy, North Macedonia, Portugal, Turkey, Sweden, Czech Republic.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. What do you reckon with Samson? What would you rather, Portugal or Italy?
Portugal, Italy. If they met in a final to qualify, who do you think is going through?
I think it'll be Portugal. I think Portugal's team was too good. Ronaldo will always be Ronaldo. He turns up on international days. Diego Jota's on the form of his life. I think he's on level with Ronaldo and Harry Kane, 13 goals in the Prem. He's on fire in Champions League and every other competition. Scored twice or once against Arsenal the other week. And then you also have the likes of Diaz, Bruno Fernandes. You have all these great players. It's hard to see Portugal lose. And, they've done it against big teams at the World Cup as well. So I think Portugal might edge this one out.
If Italy don't qualify because they didn't make it to the 2018 World Cup either. That'll be 2 World Cups in a row, but they got the Euros in between, I'd say. So they probably say they won a trophy. Okay,
Bit
now
like Chelsea. Bit like Chelsea.
I think it would be more embarrassing for England to lose that final, knowing that Italy didn't make it to the next World Cup.
That's true. Yeah,
I think
Chelsea world champions, James. Don't forget that. Now England. Obviously, World Cup's far away. Is it November? So do England have a chance? Like, do you genuinely, either of you, think England can win the World Cup?
no.
And if not, who do you think? You had to predict an early favourite. It's about 8 months away, is it? Something like that. Who do both of you fancy to win the World Cup?
Lads, I'm a little bit older than you, lads. I waited years to get into a final of a major championship. We did that. That was our chance. I think the boys will do well, but I just think, they won't like the conditions. I think it won't favour them. I think they had their chance. I think Southgate, it could be, dare I say, I love Southgate. I like the way he coaches. I like the way he handles everything. I've read a lot of his books. I love the man in terms of how he does it. But I'm worried it's one championship too many in terms of he should have gone after the Euros. But I support them. And there is some good young players coming up. But that was the chance in the Euros. World Cup's got different kettle. And I think we'd do well to get to the quarterfinals.
Okay, and if you had to, obviously it's far away, form can change. If you had to predict a World Cup winner, who would you go for?
It depends on who's actually there, because I think Rosanfa made some very good points about Portugal, but will they get through Italy? I don't want to sit here and say Portugal and then people say to me, hey, they didn't even make it. That would be Sion's line at the first one we do for the World Cup.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. It's hard to predict.
Resentment?
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Jackson. I think that was our chance. We had everything to play for. I think Italy did as well. It was more of their redemption arc. But for us, not having won anything in 50 years, we had everything going for us. Host nation, Wembley, basically host stadium. There was no reason why everything shouldn't have gone in our favor. We took the early lead. I mean, I love Southgate. I've done everything. I love everything he's done for the culture, for England Football Club. But there's certain things I don't agree with how he played it. Going too defensive, making substitution at the wrong time, not making the substitution earlier. I think even looking back at some of the games, I think the draws, we got lucky. I think we had an easy route to the Euro 2020 final, easy route. We should have had an easy route to the World Cup 2018 final as well. Couldn't hold on to the lead against Croatia. We bottled it. I mean, for all we know, it could have been a different game against France. It wouldn't have been a 4-1 battering by France against Croatia. Who knows? We could have turned up, but it is what it is. But I think our time is definitely gone. Harry Kane's getting old. All the likes of these players, Marcus Rashford, Sancho, they're going to be in their prime years by the time it starts. And I don't really see us having a better chance than after this, unless the next generation in the next 4 years, turn up to be superstars. I don't see England having a chance at all.
Okay, I'll chip in on this.
Go on.
Go on, James. What are you saying?
I was just quickly going to say the only thing that might help is that they're not, it's like mid-season, isn't it? So that might help them be up. They could be up and running and fully fit rather than it's the end of a season and they're tired from playing a long season in the Premier League. But go on, Sion, what do you think?
Yeah, so I agree. I don't think England will win it. So I'm going to say who I want. In terms of who I want to win it, it's purely because of one man only. I want Brazil to win it. And that's because of Thiago Silva, one of the greatest defenders of all time. It's the one trophy he hasn't won, major trophy he hasn't won in his career. And I think what a signing he's been for us. And that's the one thing he hasn't won. So, he's one of the best free agents I've seen ever. Obviously, Lewandowski, Bayern. So, and I know I'm missing some, but I wanted to win it for us. I want him to win it so he can complete the set in terms of trophies in football. So, yeah, if England, I don't think are going to win it. So I want Brazil to win it. But If
Good
any
point.
guys, do you have anything to add? Any of you before we wrap up?
No, nothing really, other than like, if we go back to the Premier League, it's squeaky bum time at the top and in the bottom. So I think the next few weeks will be interesting to see what happens. But it's going to be fun and games. Fun and games.
Nothing to add? Anyone? All right. Thanks everyone for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you all again after the international.
Hang on. Before you go,
go on, James.
Before you go, can you confirm if that's a Crystal Palace top underneath your Chelsea jacket?
Oh, of course not.
I reckon it's a Crystal Palace top. Yeah. You've just stuck that badge on, son. He's wearing Palace. He's trying to.
Badge of the world champions. Just remember, man. Just remember.
Yeah. Wrap it up. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Just remember. He was praying. We lost that Club World Cup. He was praying. I know he was there. He will never say it.
Stop recorded.
He was burning when that full-time whistle blew in that Club World Cup against Palmeiras. James, Dats, and everyone was burning inside.
Please stop.
So, just remember that. Like, subscribe, and share, everyone. We'll see you all again after the international break.